What up, my fellow NBA lovers? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and this will be Who's Making the Decisions in Philly, Volume 2. And this time, Philly decided to hire Doc Rivers. And once again, this is pretty much a safe hire for the Philadelphia 76ers. Doc Rivers was basically in the same scenario, which he had superstars and just a locker room kind of in flux. And right now, he just went from the West Coast dealing with that situation, and now he's dealing with the same situation on the East Coast in Philly. And who's really making decisions in Philadelphia? That's really the questions here, because this hire, once again, is a safe hire, and they pretty much whiffed on Markelle Fultz, the Jimmy Butler trade, signing Tobias Harris and sending over assets to get him in a trade, using cap space to sign Al Horford, who doesn't fit. It's just a lot of scenarios. It's pretty much leading to the downfall of the Philadelphia 76ers. They do have a player in Joel Embiid who sometimes is not healthy, especially not at a healthy weight. And then they also have a guard in Ben Simmons who doesn't shoot at all, kind of wastes space in the perimeter as just being just a guard who can't shoot in a shooting league right now. So you guys check out this segment, and every once in a while I'll check in.
You see Doc winning the East with Embiid and Simmons.
I do. I cannot. The East is getting better. Giannis is going to get better. Who knows what the moves they're going to make. Heat are up and coming. Boston is young. They're going to get better. I just think Kimba was kind of nicked at the end of the year.
And also the Philadelphia 76ers are also cash strapped. Basically, they've signed nothing but guaranteed contracts, especially with Simmons and Embiid and Tobias Harris. They're pretty much locked in 5 years, not even a player option. They're just locked in fully. They have a lot of salary cap committed to these guys, about to go over the luxury tax. Al Horford is not even looking like a reliable asset as he's on the downhill. And just a lot of the players, even off the bench, they had to rely on guys like Alec Burke to create some offense. It's just a really weird scenario. But I wonder if Doc Rivers is going to tie all this in, because he could even tie it in with veteran guys across the pond in the West Coast with guys like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, which are much more seasoned players.
That's why they started resting him down the stretch, Skip, and he never regained that in the bubble. But Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, they got the makings of a really good team. Nets now have KD and Kyrie, and they're probably going to have Karis LeVert. No, I don't. The question is, I think one of the reasons Doc was hired, Skip.
I would say KD and Kyrie is the only real threat right there, because the rest of those guys, they're young pups, just like, Simmons and Embiid, especially on their playoff journey.
Is that they believe he can get through to Joel Embiid. Joel, you need to take it serious. You bull jiving. Who you kidding? You're not in shape. You make it up the court 2 times and you're tired. You lag, you're last guy on the court. You're not training. You don't take your training serious. You don't take your nutrition serious. You don't take the game serious.
That doesn't only fall in Embiid. That also falls in the culture of the 76ers. Like Jimmy Butler had said before when he was speaking in an interview, how the 76ers, he didn't know who to talk to and who was really calling the shots. And even Elton Brand had said he was not the only ones making the decisions on the 76ers. They just recently made him the face of just the decision making. But it's not only him. Something is going on in Philly. Either they're trying to protect Simmons or Embiid, but they got to choose which one of these guys they're gonna go with, because this is looking like it's not gonna work out.
You bull jiving. You fooling yourself. It's hard for me to see how you can take the next level until Ben Simmons can shoot a jump shot. Skip, how can I say, man, he could be a great pitcher if he can just locate the ball? What kind of bull jive is that, Skip? You're a basketball player.
And that's the story of the Philadelphia 76ers right there. It's always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Ben Simmons, great guard, but he can't shoot. Embiid could be dominant, but his health is always in question, and his weight. And just they tied in all these contracts. It's just a lot of question marks. I'm not sure if Doc Rivers, man, is the right call. It's a safe call, but I'm not sure he's the right call. Maybe they're trying to weave out to see who's the real issue, if it's Embiid and Simmons, by the hiring of Doc Rivers.
At some point in time, you're the point guard and you're not gonna shoot no jump shots. I just don't see it. I don't like this. I don't like the pairing, Skip. I really don't. But Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons needs to work on a shot and feel comfortable enough in the game to shoot it. Joel Embiid needs to take training, take nutrition serious, take the game serious. And he can't be missing 20 games a year, Skip. He'll play 2 games and then he's out a week. He'll play 5 games and then he's out 4 games. That's unacceptable. So can I see them winning the East? No. To make a long story short, no.
Can I see them winning the East? Yes. I believe in Doc Rivers. I always have.
Yeah, I believe Doc Rivers is living off a reputation he had in '08, because ever since then, it's just this guy's had a lot of superstars and mega big names to just have one championship. We're talking about KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. It's just, damn, man. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and you have one championship, and you didn't reach a conference finals, man. In all those Clipper years. It's just, I don't know, man. This guy is kind of living off a reputation. But once again, this is a safe hire for the Philadelphia 76ers. But at the same time, it's the same scenario. It's just on the East Coast.
I still believe in Joel Embiid much more than you do. I agree with everything you just said, but I have seen it come to pass where you can see what he is a nuclear weapon.
Yes.
When he is right, he is about as right as anybody in the game. He can go 40 and 20. He can make 3-point shots, which he takes too many, but he can make them.
Yes.
And he can make 80 to 85% of his free throws.
Yo, that's a great point by Skip right there. He takes too many of them. That means he might be out of breath, man. He might be out of shape. That's why he's settling for 3-point shots. That's very scary right there. It's not like Jokic. Jokic doesn't just line up for 3 and settle for them. He's looking for the open guy. He doesn't drive as much. He doesn't have the athleticism Embiid has, but Embiid is not at the top of the key looking to make passes or looking to create something. He's basically just gonna settle. And Skip is right. He's been settling a bit way too much. It might be because he's not in great shape.
Which is extraordinary for a man that big.
Right.
You've got all of that operating if he ever gets somebody to push the right button for him to take it seriously on and off the court. And
How?
okay, I'm hoping that
Doc's
Doc
the
is
guy.
that guy.
Okay.
All right. If anybody can get through to him, I believe that a man with Doc's credentials, with his deep background, with his rings and his
rings, man. What are you talking about? You mean his A ring? He only has 1 ring. Just very fortunate to be a coach in the league to have all those stars and just have 1 ring. It's just, he's almost falling into that Mike D'Antoni category where it's just like, wow, you had Kobe, you had all these great stars, Steve Nash, and you just have very little to show for it. I mean, at least Doc Rivers has a championship.
his ring and his
Personable.
he is so personal. He can reach. And remember, he got the best year ever out of Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
He can go 20 a game for you.
Yes.
He can go like
Yes.
20 and 7
Yes.
for you. That's what he did for Doc's Clippers.
But then again, you look back on the other side of that equation, he couldn't get the best out of Kawhi and Paul George. Come on, man.
So you look at this, and then the other button he has to push is in Ben Simmons.
Yes.
He's another one. I'm not sure if he really cares about this or not.
He's a walking triple-double.
Oh, is he?
And he's a tremendous defensive player. He's first team all defense.
First team all defense. And I'm guessing Doc is thinking we need a point guard, and it could be Ben Simmons. Would he take that role? But he has to be able to make if you dare him to shoot that shot, you got to make a few of them.
You're right.
Yeah, that's really hurting Philly, man. They have a guard on the top of the key that's not even a threat to take a shot. Not even a 3-point shot, just a jump shot. The spacing, that just creates horrible spacing. I don't know. Maybe Simmons is going to have to play a different position or just be somewhere else offensively on the court, because that's just the beginning of a disaster right there, especially in a 3-point league right now, where especially a lot of guards are just popping up, pulling up from 3 from half court. It's just to have a guard doing that right now. Like I said, Philly just got a lot of milk, but no cereal ass motherfuckers on this team and organization. It's really weird.
Or you're going to become a
I mean,
liability.
Doc was a point guard.
He
for
was a point guard. So my point is, Al Horford is still there. Josh Richardson
Oh, man,
is still
Skip.
there. Okay, but they
Josh,
got
Al Horford,
okay.
why, Skip?
Okay, but Josh Richardson, Mike Scott, Shake Milton,
Yeah.
you know, they have people.
You know, it's funny, Skip's naming all those guys, but they basically rely on Alec Burke this season to get some jump shots up and to create offense that Ben Simmons really couldn't create. It's very strange. Like I said, man, it's a lot of milk, but no cereal ass motherfuckers on this team.
pieces to puzzle that looked like it almost worked. I mean, in 18-19, they went 51-31, and who made the luckiest shot in the history of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Kawhi made that shot, right?
But
that kept them.
You like the Sixers better when they had spacers.
You know what's so funny? That Kawhi shot, the way it hit the rim, that might be just the end of the 76ers. I mean, we may look back 5 years from now if this doesn't work out and be like, wow, that was that team at its peak. That's basically when that ball hit that net, it basically was the beginning of the end of the 76ers. I mean, that'll be very interesting to look back on.
They had Bellinelli.
They did.
They had Ilyasova.
They were really good.
Now,
and then the Celtics blew them out in 5 games. Remember?
But now, Skip, you bring Al Horford and Ben Simmons. Where's the space? You got 2 guys that operate. You know, yeah, both guys can shoot threes, but Al Horford wants to play like a small. You're big, bro.
Yep. But
you know, Shannon just brought up a great point right there. They had guys on the bench. The 76ers was one of the better teams where they had guys off the bench, like Ilyasova. And they basically, you know, trade by trade, the Tobias Harris trade, the Jimmy Butler trade, and just letting Jimmy Butler walk away. You know, all those like bad moves just eventually start eating away at this team. And now the Al Horford deal is just, man, it's just not really working out for this team. And they were basically ahead of the curve on other teams by just having Ben Simmons and Embiid and having a top pick and just having all these guys on rookie salaries. They were kind of ahead of most teams, but now just mistake after mistake after mistake. I mean, I'm recording at least 4 mistakes by the Philadelphia 76ers where now they're just cash strapped and they just don't have that many options to be flexible and make a lot of moves.
telltale sign to me was Doc going to leap at this opportunity?
Yeah.
And he leapt.
Yes.
It happened in a day.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, is that Doc didn't want to rebuild. Doc is not for the rebuild. Remember, he left. He got up out of Boston because they were looking to rebuild. And I think he still looks at New Orleans as a rebuild because they're young. I mean, Zion's going to be, what, 21?
I agree.
Zoe is, what, 23? Josh Hart is 25. Brandon Ingram's 24. Are they going to keep Holiday? Are they going to look to move Holiday? Somebody will give them something for Holiday, but it's going to be younger players. So you're going to be even more in a rebuild.
Okay, so obviously.
Philadelphia is not too far away from that, to be honest with you. I mean, just as far as mentality, they're kind of young when it comes to just being in that championship mode. It seems like they're still in the accolade mode where young guys is trying to get MVPs, all-star appearances. It's weird. They're sort of stuck in that. And I think Embiid and Simmons are going to have to buy into some sort of team, just overall chemistry where forget their accolades. It's just going to be all about championship or bust. But compared to the teams Doc Rivers had before, this team is fairly young. It's just especially mentally, they're fairly young.
I picked the Clippers to win it all this year. In large part, I kept telling you because they got Doc and you got.
Are you picking them to
Frankie
win it
V.
this year?
The Celtics or the Clippers?
No, the Clippers.
I mean, I'm seeing the.
Are you going to pick
Sixers.
them to win it this year?
If it's Ty Lue, I might.
Pick them to win it this year? I'm picking my team. I'm going to record right now.
Okay.
My team.
So that's the point about what happened with Doc. I still love him as coach. I did not love what happened against the Nuggets. Something went really wrong. Just remember about the political chaos that was probably taking place behind the scenes.
Right.
Come on, Skip. Everybody dealt with any type of chaos, whether it was political or just being in the bubble. Every team dealt with the same adversity. There was no excuses. That team seemed like they were not on the same page since the season started. This guy is here. This guy is on cruise control here. Another guy is on, rest. It's just, guys were never on the same page, man. Come on.
You got, looking over one shoulder, the great Jerry West. Obviously, great player, and he was a head coach in this league, right? Looking over the other shoulder is Lawrence Frank, who has been a head coach in this league, correct?
Yep.
And to your right is Ty Lue, who's obviously won a ring as a head coach.
Right.
And overseeing the whole operation is a guy worth $70 billion who won't take no for an answer.
Right.
And who's learning the hard way. He's learning the very hard way how long it takes and how hard it is to win an NBA championship. That guy's going to learn the hard way. Like, this is not easy. This is not something where you could just toss money at and then you hope to get it. It doesn't work like that.
wants results now.
Right.
And they did.
And that's normally what happens when you have that kind of capital, Skip. You get results now. Well, I want to be in this place. Okay, Mr. Barber, we have the jet.
Now.
We're ready to go.
Okay, Mr. Ballmer, we don't have that NBA trophy for you this year because you can't just buy it, man. You got to earn it.
Okay, so I don't know what was happening, but it looked like Doc got miffed about something and just folded his arms basically and said, that's enough.
Let me tell you what he got miffed about. Here's the guy that y'all talk about, the best player in basketball.
No, I'll tell you what he got miffed about. He got miffed about Jokic, man. Jokic is going to change that whole conference. He is a glitch in this whole 3-point, analytical era that we're kind of in right now, because what he brings to the table is just really never been seen, and it's sort of the catalyst to that type of style of play where you got a big man just looking guys off, almost plays like a point guard, is a threat from 3-point range, and he's big enough to get in the inside and do damage.
And he goes 1 for 11 in the second half. He gives me 0 points in the fourth quarter. And you talk about I got a second superstar who's been crashing and burning like an asteroid. Yep. That's what I can't understand. So I'm going to fold my arm because y'all tell me these guys are what y'all say they are. They should be able to figure this thing out.
And Shannon is right. They should have been able to figure out. I mean, Paul George just kept talking about his mental wasn't right in the bubble. Doc Rivers couldn't get his mental right. Just guys was not on the same page, and they couldn't adjust to Jokic fast enough. So it'll be very interesting to see if he could bring it down to Philly, where he has even younger guys, and to get Ben Simmons' mental right so he can be confident enough to take some of these shots, and Embiid to get him right physically to be more consistent. I mean, we'll see how this plays out.
Because that's what my guy can do.
Oh,
yeah.
Shannon always sticking up for his guy LeBron. But it is what it is. We'll see where this gets at. Philly, man, it's going to be a hell of a ride for these guys, but this may be the beginning of the end for these guys. It is what it is. Until next time, y'all stay safe. Peace.